The story begins with a farmer named Antonio who is married, and despite this, he is having an affair with a girl named Bianca. Bianca's sister keeps telling her that Antonio falling in love could prove dangerous for him, because he also has a wife and children. So much so that now the whole village knows about your affair, but Bianca doesn't listen to her sister. Bianca and her sister Lucia are the daughters of a ranch owner named Kumpa, who is actually a cruel man. And everyone knows that he looks at other girls and takes advantage of their helplessness. Here, along with the villagers, Antonio's wife Maria also knows about her husband's ongoing affair. But despite this, she cannot do anything about it, because Antonio does not even listen to his mother, who tells him to stay with his family all the time. On one hand, Antonio was having an affair with Bianca in his life. On the other hand, he is a man who wants to get the villagers their rights. He wants to eradicate poverty from this village, and for this he is fighting to get justice, because he knows that a man named Brigadier has come from the city and is buying everything from the farmers at a very low price. So one day Antonio decided that he would himself buy goods from the farmers by paying them the right price, due to which all the villagers will get their rights. Antonio was respected in the eyes of the villagers, whereas his father wanted to live a life without any problems. That's why he is upset with Antonio's fight. The peace that Antonio wanted in his life, he gets it only with Bianca. And for this peace, he wants to go far away from this village with Bianca and build a new world. But loving Bianca is like playing with fire for him, because Bianca's father Kumpa is a demon who has just been informed of Antonio's movements. One night Kumpa called Antonio to meet him at his house. Antonio assumed she might have called him to talk about Bianca, but it was not so. Bianca was at home that night, but she did not let Kumpa know about their relationship. Kumpa asks Antonio to stop the ongoing movement. He tries hard to convince him, but Antonio remains adamant on his stand. He said that since farmers plow the fields from now on, they will also decide the price of the crop. Now Kumpa understood that Antonio was a stubborn man, and it is impossible to change his decision. That very night, two farmers attacked and beat a man named Brigadier, who used to come from the city to buy their crops. And Antonio is completely unaware of this. He was focusing on his farming along with his friend Peter and family. One night Antonio went to meet Bianca, and both of them spent the night together in a barn. And when Bianca told this to her sister the next day, so she understood that maybe Antonio was still there, Lucia went to the barn to get Antonio out of there, and somehow she took Antonio out, hiding him from the eyes of his brother Siccio. But when Antonio left from there and reached the church, Maria told him that their son had run away from home the previous night. He was just searching for his father in the village the whole night, and he did this because his father remains absent from home every other night. Now, even after knowing this, Antonio does not consider his mistake as a mistake. He said that he loved Maria, but he wants something else from his life, and Maria wants something else. The next day, Antonio meets Bianca and tells her that he is going to take her away from here to his brother Thomas, and there both of them will be happy together. But it was not that easy for Antonio to do so, because Bianca's brother Siccio saw Antonio and Bianca together, and he told this to his father Kumpa. Then when Bianca returned to her home, Kumpa started cursing her. Here Antonio wrote a letter to Kumpa to tell him the truth, but at the moment he does not have the courage to go and give this letter to Kumpa. Then after a week he gathered courage and went to tell Kumpa what was written in the letter. So on the pretext of showing the land, Kumpa brutally killed Antonio, and his dead body was sent to the middle of the village on his own horse. Antonio's family and Bianca could not bear Antonio's death, and then he conveyed the news of this death to Antonio's brother Thomas. As soon as Thomas got this news, he decided to leave the city and return to the village. Here in the village, farmers were being arrested one by one, because he was accused of Antonio's death, and this is so that the ongoing farmers' movement can be stopped. And now there is no one there to protect those farmers. Antonio's family was horrified by his death, and they all wanted to leave this village and go to the city with Thomas. But Thomas cannot do this. During the funeral, Maria said that she wanted to carry Antonio's bier. Then all the women picked up Antonio and started walking towards the cemetery. And then Bianca sees Antonio one last time. The police wanted to hush up Antonio's case, but Thomas is not happy with this. When he came out of the police station, he came to know from Peter that Antonio was having affairs with many women, but Bianca was different to him. She was special, and since his arrival, Antonio lost his consciousness. When Thomas talked to his father about this, he said that Antonio gave hope to others, and this proved to be his biggest mistake. giving hope to those who have nothing can prove to be bad, because to destroy any demon, one has to become a demon himself. But Antonio was not a monster, so he was killed. Now that Thomas knows the whole truth about his brother's death, he comes to meet Kumpa. He said that Kumpa's thinking that he is very powerful is his misconception, because the real power lies in the hands of those people whom he has been keeping in poverty for so many years. And even though his brother is dead, the thought of freedom never dies. Now Thomas had to reluctantly go back to the city for his work, and saying goodbye to everyone, he boarded the bus that night. But suddenly he saw Antonio in the bus, which made him feel a little strange. The next morning, someone in the village brutally killed both Kumpa and Siccio, and his blood-soaked clothes were left in the middle of the village, where Antonio's body had been left. But no one in the village knows who did all this. Everyone thought that this work was done by the farmers. Now the villagers were refusing to give any goods to Bianca and Lucia, due to which his condition started getting worse. If seen, in a way, both the sisters have been thrown out of the village, because today these two sisters are getting punished for the troubles their father had caused to the farmers. Now, desperately trying to survive, they had to seek help from the brigadier. The brigadier promised Bianca that he would send some of his men to help the two sisters, who would cultivate their land so that they could earn money. But Brigadier was not as good a man as Bianca thought. In return for his help, he asks Bianca to make him happy. But at the right time, Bianca saved herself from that vile man and ran away from there. On the other hand, Thomas's attention was getting diverted from his work, and one of his mistakes hurt his partner. On one hand, Bianca is still unable to recover from Antonio's death. On the other hand, Thomas's girlfriend started preparing to live with him. Here Thomas had completely changed after the death of his brother. Despite having everything, he was not happy, and his girlfriend's father also understood this. He wanted Thomas to take leave from work for a few days, but Thomas refused to do so. He wrote a letter for Bianca, but Bianca did not read that letter. Thomas also wrote a letter for his girlfriend, after reading which she started crying. In that letter, Thomas had written that he don't want to marry her. He is leaving this city and going to his village forever. After reaching the village and going to his home, Thomas came to meet Bianca. But at Bianca's house, he found a picture of Bianca's mother. And when Lucia went to call Bianca, Thomas went away without saying anything, because years ago, he found the same picture of Bianca's mother in his father's wallet. And when he told the same thing to his father, he told him that Bianca's sister Lucia is actually his daughter. After Bianca's birth, Kumpa started beating his wife every day because he wanted a boy, and Bianca's mother used to come to their house every day, fed up with Kumpa's beatings, because at that time both of them were good friends. And in the meantime all this happened, but till date he has not been able to meet the eyes of his daughter Lucia. Here Bianca somehow gathered courage and read the letter sent to her by Thomas, in which he had written that he wanted to talk to her about something important. And when Bianca went to talk, she saw Antonio instead of Thomas. And then Bianca finds out that Thomas has a part of Antonio in his body. Thomas and Antonio are definitely twins, but they were always different from each other. Antonio wanted to alleviate the suffering of others, and Thomas wanted to get away from troubles, so he decided to leave his home and live in the city. But after the death of his brother, Antonio came alive inside Thomas and avenged his brother's death. Friends, that means it was Thomas who killed Kumpa and Siccio. Now here he also decided to end the troubles of the villagers and Bianca. Now everyone started seeing Antonio's shadow inside Thomas. Meanwhile, Thomas comes close to Bianca and whispers in her ear that he will marry her. Bianca was wearing the same wedding dress that Antonio had gotten her for her wedding day. All the people of the village were gathered to see this scene. Thomas takes Bianca's hand and leads her towards the church. Thomas's entire family and the entire village were there to share in this happiness. And this story ends on this scene. So friends, this movie is based on a painful, bitter truth. When love clashes with feudal forces, it often does not win but is crushed. The lesson we learn from this movie is that true love is not always easy. Sometimes sacrifices have to be made. The fight against inequality and exploitation continues even today. So friends, this is the story of The Last Paradiso, a film released in 2010. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. Comment on which scene resonated with you the most, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to continue receiving similar explainer videos. Thank you. See you next time with another interesting film story. Till then, bye-bye and take care.